The first million enterprise web servers see a Linux presence of more than 95%. This is because it requires fewer computational resources compared to other systems, so it increases the services you can have there, and you don't also pay for the license. It can be said that the Ubuntu operative system comes from Linux, is now the computing backbone of enterprises. But how can you have it for your business reality so that you can use it to have specific services and cut costs? In this video we will see a single case. I connected to another computer I have, and as you can see we are on Windows. Also for this reason, some seconds ago I said one case. And we are on a version of Windows that allows us to create virtual machines because we have this program called Hyper-V that allows us to create virtual machines that host also other kinds of operative system. But in order to have this working, you have to do two things. And the first one is to enable the virtualization in the BIOS. So it is the loading screen that comes before the operating system. As you can see, I did already, and here we have enabled. And then you have to do another activation. You go into the control panel and you read the features. If you click here, you see that I already activated Hyper-V. Now I can create the virtual machine I desire. As you can see, I already have some here. So I go to New Virtual Machine. Next, I call it Ubuntu 22 Video. Next, Generation 2. This amount of RAM, I can turn off the dynamic memory because I don't need it. Networking, I choose VPN, but you can choose default switch. Here we create the virtual hard disk, and if you select this and you don't pay attention, you wipe out the entire computer. So here 20 gigabytes are enough. Next, install an operating system from a bootable image file in my downloads. Next, finish. You go to settings, security, disable this, because otherwise you have a problem. I just started it, now we can connect to it, connect, and if before you didn't do the safe boot deactivation, of course you would have an error starting from here. Let's select English as language, let's ignore this update for now, even though you have always to run the latest version for security concerns. The keyboard Italiano, because otherwise with the password I personally have problems, especially because of my keyboard layout. You can also pick this. Okay, done. Let's do this one, done. Yes, it's not so immediate as a process. Okay, this, if we want, is the delicate part, because one can think, use an entire disk will format my computer. Not true, because I remind you that when we created the virtual machine, we created a partition of the entire disk for this. We just select done, done, continue, your name server, server name Ubuntu Video, username Gabriele, password. Again, if you don't set your keyboard accordingly, you will have bad surprises. Let me also give you a suggestion, because generally here you don't have the mouse cursor because we are in a server environment. So to move across the boxes you have to press tab. Done. Skip for now. Install SSH, of course yes, because this allows us another way to access this server, that is command line based. Done. Okay, now we have the featured server Snaps. Snaps is like one kind of app store, let's call it, of Ubuntu. We have Nextcloud, that is like Google Cloud or OneDrive that you can self-host. Most likely you need Docker. It's select this version. Also, if you manage multiple Docker containers in a, let's say, advanced way, you might want to install also this version of Kubernetes. It is, as I said, something quite advanced. So we can go to done. Now it will do its stuff. Remember to stay hydrated. You have the time to pet your dog or cat if you have it. Of course, this will take less time, also depending on your internet connection. Okay, I can reboot now. Okay, this is not an issue because, as you can understand, we don't have a CD-ROM. We had a different kind of installation, so no worries. Still rebooting, no actual problem. I understand that this black screen can give some anxiety, but no problem. Also because you can notice from here that it does something that it doesn't display inside here. A technical comment, you see cloud init. It becomes a very useful settings when you want to configure different machines with, let's say, X programs installed already. So you don't have to spend time doing manual configuration. This key of the SSH will help us to access differently this kind of server. This is if you want a sensitive information, but it is not a problem for the purpose of this video. Okay, now we can log in. As you can see, I typed the password, but it didn't show. Useful information to know. You have to use the numbers that are on the top of the keyboard, not on the right of the keyboard. This is a very common mistake that I still do sometimes. Okay, so we have our machine ready. You see that we already use 50% of our space I decided to use. If we do sudo apt install neo fetch, yes, we have another way to check the hardware configuration of our server. Mind that with the current configuration I have on this machine, every time I do, let's say, sensitive stuff, I have to type the password. There is also a configuration that allows me to bypass this step. So let's run what I just installed, and you see that we have the hardware of my actual computer, that is the CPU of AMD, and the RAM is a bit less than 2 GB, because if I run this, I have also the swap. But in any case, you can see that with this server configuration of Ubuntu, we have a very lightweight system that use just 270 megabytes of RAM. Of course, we have just one CPU, but I can increase it if I turn the machine off and I go to settings, and then I increase the numbers of CPUs. Now let's go Ctrl C to get out from this, clear docker ps. You have to use sudo because when you use Docker you have to add a special user. But anyway, you can see that with Docker currently I run nothing. Let's try to pull a very simple statistical service. Docker run detached rock shiny. That is a service used for dashboards. Of course, the same mistake of before. You have to add sudo. It downloads what it needs. It takes a while because I remind you that with Docker we install from the operative system to the coding language, that in this case is R, the software to run it, and all the dependencies or ingredients that we need to actually execute this statistical service. And again, as I said before, the speed depends also on your internet connection speed, and also on the state of the server. It pulls the stuff you see it is downloading at the moment. Okay, let's see. The problem is that with the current configuration we can't really access the service we just deployed. Enough for this video, because otherwise it would become too heavy. If you need a call to discuss whether you need this or not for your company instead of the cloud, let's have a free call that you can book on the link you see in the description. Bye and see you the next time.